Now the opposite of that is called retardation. And that means that it's going to sustain and resolve upwards. So you've got something like this. Like that, all right? So it resolves, maybe you've got this, and then you've got, so these two notes clash right here, but it's going to resolve here when we get to the C. All right, but it resolves upwards. So suspension resolves downward, retardation resolves upwards. And then the final two are anticipation. And there are two types of anticipation. It can resolve up or down. So just know that. So anticipation, it doesn't separate them in any fancy way like it does with suspension. So anticipation is going to be the opposite. So it's going to anticipate the chord. So say the chord is here, and then it resolves here. So ba, da, da. So it anticipates the next chord. Whereas suspensions and retardation hold over the old chord into the new chord. I guess that's a better way to explain it. And you can do this either by resolving up or down. Doesn't matter, as long as it anticipates the final chord. So it's sort of like the spoiler alert of non-harmonic tones. So if we do B, C, and then do that, right? Something like that. But the important part is that it's anticipating the final chord. All right, so those are non-harmonic tones. And those are all the ones that you need to know. Oh, and the shorthand for anticipation is A-N-T, ant. So when you're going through in a piece of music, you basically just sort of quickly label them. You circle the wrong note for the non-harmonic tone, and then you give it a label. So you can see in page 103, if you look closely, you'll see they've done a little bit for you. So you see they circle it, and then right above it they write passing tone. Or in here, they write passing tone, so these are all passing tones, right? Down here, we've got all neighboring tones. So you just circle the note that doesn't fit, and then you label it neighboring tone. Simple, simple, simple. Let's see. So I think that's actually all the information you need to have to do the homework this week. Let's see. And if you need more information, the book goes into depth about passing tones, appoggiaturas, suspensions, all of those. Let's see. Oh, and they also give there's sort of a catch-all called a changing tone, CT. And this guy is the catch-all for anything that doesn't fit into passing tone, neighboring tone, escape tone, appoggiatura, anticipation, suspension, retardation. Like if it doesn't fit into one of those, you're going to call it a changing tone. So that's sort of the catch-all for anything that doesn't fit into that box. So let's see. So in assignment 5.1, all you have to do is identify So this first one, they just give you straight up a cadence and you have to identify the cadence. So let's do number 2. So this is number 2. Just to change it up a little. So we're in the key of E minor. Right? So we get all right, and then they give you the 3 slots under here, right? So we've just got to analyze and figure out what these chords are based on E minor, right? So our first chord, we've got an E, a G, an E, and a B. So E, G, B. So we're in E minor, call it a 1 chord. Now we're in minor, so it's going to be a minor 1, right? So lowercase Roman numeral 1. All right, our next chord sounds a little kooky. We've got D sharp, F sharp. We've got a B. So B, D sharp, F sharp, and then down here we've got another B. All right, so in the key of E, right, B is going to be a 5 chord, and we're adding a D sharp in there, so it's actually turning it into a major chord despite the fact that it's in a minor key. So we put a big 5 right there. All right? Because it is a major chord. This D sharp says it's a major chord. All right, so now we've got 1, 5, so we can eliminate plagal cadence and we can eliminate half cadence, right? So we know it's either going to end up being a perfect authentic cadence because we've got this 5 leading us to something. Now we just have to figure out what that something is. So we've got E, that's a good sign. And we've got a G, so E, G, and then down here, oh no, we've got a C. So we've got a C major chord. In the key of E, this is going to be a 6 chord, right? So it doesn't fit in at all with what we're looking at. And actually, it's a major 6 chord. Just like that, all right? So it's not a 1, which tells us if we have 5 to something else that isn't 1, it's called a deceptive cadence. So all we do is we label deceptive at the top. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? So just do that. That's 5.1. Assignment 5.2 is identifying non-chord tones. So again, this is going to be a trickier one for you guys to do. You're going to have to probably do it in your book, take a photo of it, and upload it. So 5.2 just gives you an example of a few non-harmonic tones. They just want you, there's only one non-harmonic tone in each example, and they want you to just identify which one it is. So in number 1, we have it's pretty obvious which one this is, but we should probably go through and do the analysis anyway. All right? So we're in the key of, looks like C major probably, or A minor. So let's look at our first chord. We've got a C, right? And an A. So we've got A. Actually, that's a C2. Sorry. So we've got a C, got an E, and we've got a G. All right, so C, E, G, so one chord. And here we've got what kind of chord? So we've got a G, we've got a D, we've got a B, so G, B, D, and G on the bottom, all right? So that's a G minor chord at the key of C. It's going to be 5, or G major chord, sorry. So we've got 1, 5, which would be a half cadence, but we don't have to worry about identifying that. The most important part is this F. How does it fit in, right? It doesn't fit into this chord, doesn't fit into this chord. So we can identify it as our non-harmonic tone. And then from there, we have to figure out what kind of non-harmonic tone it is. Well, it gives us a big eye-opener here. We go up a step and then down a third, right? So up a step, down a third. Which one was that? An escape tone. So we just label it E-T. And then at the bottom, where the little line is, you just write E-T for escape tone. All right? So that's all you have to do with that. Let's see. So 5.3 is more stuff like 5.1. I want you to do it, get more practice with Roman numeral analysis. So it's going to give you the cadence, and you're going to have to identify where the cadence, it shows you where the cadence is. So you can see here. So the cadence is at the end, here the cadence is in the middle, here it's at the beginning and at the end. So do 5.3, and let's see. 5.4 is basically more of the same. So I don't think I'm going to make you do it. 5.5. So 5.5 I'm going to make you do. This is, you're going to combine all three of these. All right, so you're going to have to label the cadence up here. So you've got cadence here. And then you're also going to have to label the non-chord tones. So you're going to have to analyze it and label non-chord tones. Yeah. Or actually, let's have you do 5.4. So nix that. We won't do 5.5, but you are going to do 5.4. So 5.4, they're actually going to make you also label non-chord tones. So passing tones, suspensions. So you've got to do all of that. And that's it. That's the entire chapter. All right, so I will see you guys next week. I hope the test worked out okay. So for those of you who didn't get it in on time, just email me, contact me. I will give you a second chance, and I will just knock a couple points off. So, all right. Thank you for bearing with me and my runny nose, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.